reach. I here searching for peace. I had to let go and release. I wasn't feeling your speech. Talking that shit, you forgot who I be. The one who care for you, baby, the only one ever you dating. You know I be driving you crazy, but fuck it, I bet you won't trade me. Tell me you'll never betray. Yeah, I believe her. She bad as a bitch, but I call her a diva. She the receiver, pass her the money like you got to mix me and you really is equals. Girl, you the one that was never a sequel. All of the walls I see through. What should I feed you? I got a plate, the love that we make for dessert. I'll probably just eat you. I got a sweet tooth. How would you feel? Some meal would've thought we was high off a pill. I can't get enough. Whenever we touch, I'm feeling the rush. I'm making up. She making me rich. Get up and go get it. I'm handling business. She let me get it. I'ma go swimming. Want it forever, cause that's how we living. Ayy, that's how we living today. I'm hugging and grabbing your waist. Just give me a taste. Yeah, you know you worth it. Loving the way that you work it. You deserve way more than this. Is anything money can buy. It's cool, but I got a spiritual connection with you. Ayy, you know I'ma reach. I here searching for peace. I had to let go and release. I wasn't feeling you talking that shit, you forgot who I be. The one who care for you, baby, the only one ever you dating. You know I be driving you crazy before.
Already got waves.
Tell me you'll never betray.
Appreciate you though.
Want you all the time. You consume my mind.
Shout out to Nebulous.
I can't imagine loop follow with ashes, yeah. I see the way you react. I gotta ask you, what do you want from me? Keep it clear as can be.
Yeah, what do you want from me? Yeah. Party like Boston tea, yeah. Go out and cause a scene, yeah. Wake up in the morning, fucking up the heat, yeah. Swear that mouth so good, don't even get too much for hygiene, yeah. You the only one I love to put that D on recently, yeah. Jumping up in your bed, I'ma fill you wet like Boston tea pie. Man, a guy, but I ain't wearing bow tie, ain't selling no bean pie. I don't run up out the pound and smoking a free pie. Swear to God, I've been counting out this money since a knee high. Fuck they holidays, don't
Fuck
need
they
no
holidays. Hey.
to be told I know you know your
Hey.
ex, you never could be
Yeah.
right. But for now, just lie to my face and we gon' be fine.
You know I'ma reach. I here searching for peace. I had to let go and release. I wasn't feeling your speech. Talking that shit, you forgot who I be. The one who care for you, baby, the only one ever you dating. You know I be driving you crazy, but fuck it, I bet you won't trade me. Trade me. Want you all the time. You consume my mind. Happy I made mine. I can't imagine losing my passion. Follow with ashes, yeah. I see the way you reacting. I gotta ask you, what do you want from me?
Making it clear as could be. What up, what up, what up? Boy, Dave B. Watching Davebeyondtv, where we go beyond the everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day basis. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy Saint Uno on the feature. You know what I'm saying? He came through and laid it out real smooth with the harmonies and melodies and all that stuff. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? I want to go in on a few different things. Of course, we're gonna show some astrology. The moon is about 0 degrees at Scorpio. But before that, I do got some things on my mind. What up, McCovey? I do got some things on my mind. The new age kind of development and movement and what I see specifically regarding like the so if y'all familiar with, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a little third dimensional, but you know we always go beyond what's on the surface. What it is like we're going to be talking about that Drake lawsuit with Kendrick Lamar and shit like that. It's really not even with Kendrick Lamar. It's with Universal Music Group, which is interesting because when we talk about this new age of things and being in 2025 to start to look like I was saying before the election took place, that what we're going to start to see is a new kind of regulation when it comes to what's been going on the internet. Now, again, a lot of things that you might see that are surface level, right? You might, you know, music and the rap industry or music industry and things like that. And of course, yeah, we know that should be just some very watered down third dimensional stuff. But there's always big business being done in entertainment. Saying in a couple lives earlier, the heliocentric model that the shadow government utilizes as a cover up behind what they actually follow, which is more Saturn centric. They use and manipulate the aspect of the five pillars as a way to basically get everybody's mind on the same thing. And when you really get into deep spirituality, we understand spirituality is about your space, your individuality, right? Now, what happens is when you're in this world, you start to develop a idea, a concept, familiarity with what's status quo, what's accepted as a mainstream, you know what I'm saying, how they say societal norm or these things become what most people would just go ahead and off and consider normal. And see the problem that creates is that you could already tell, like if you intelligent, you're already following me as to be here finding your individuality and crafting that. But there's a status quo in which society kind of pressures you to kind of want to follow suit in. And it's not just about a superficial type of pressure. It's actually starts to become a more financial pressure when you think about traditional ways of how to get money and be successful into different things. If you want to be successful in this world, you got to know the game and how it's played. So there's many different layers and things that you have to be aware of in order to properly right on one end, in order to properly kind of get with the program and make something happen. You can't just come here and make your own rules. You know what I'm saying? Of course, when I'm speaking on as a powerful spirit, there's a way to do that. And that's why the title of this is that always remember that there's levels to this shit. It's always levels to this shit. And you got to peep what's going on different levels. First of all, you got to be aware of what level you on. And you have to acknowledge and figure out how you're going to maneuver through that level. But then you also have to be the have to have somewhat of the awareness and ability to observe where other people at in the levels they on, right? And how you choose to interact with different people. Shout out to Eat It, you know what I'm saying? Shout out, yo. Honestly, I'll get the impression, I don't know you, but I get the impression that a lot of people who be coming through and saying what's up and stuff, low key be bots and stuff, and that's kind of what we gonna be getting into. I'm not saying you a bot again, but it's getting to that time. When we talk about this new age of things and how things operating, everything is starting to become engineered through artificial intelligence, where again, AI is not just a program or a way of technology thinking for itself. Artificial intelligence is also it could be channels and different profiles and things like that operated maybe by human, but it's not by human directly, as in a person generally expressing themselves through that profile and things like that. Like back in the day, right? Of course you had trolls and things like that, but when the concept of kind of where we at now, where there's a mass, there's a industry, a whole industry being developed behind artificial intelligence and being able to operate and program, basically like when you see different profiles or anything getting boost, high popularity, big numbers, like that, a bunch of subscribers, a bunch of likes, a bunch of interactions, even comments to a degree. All of these things might be operated by a human, but it's more so a human pressing a button to fill in a bunch of different profiles and random comments at the touch of a button. So they may not, it's not about a genuine person behind a screen typing like it used to be, maybe say 5, 6, 10 years ago and things like that, when the internet was first being developed and concepts weren't the same as they are now. See, in this new age of things, and this is why again that lawsuit is somewhat relevant and something to kind of pay attention to. Again, on the surface level, most people gonna look at it and say, oh, this is just some rap beef, and he went and made it a legal thing. But what you not understanding is why he's actually going legal. Well, I ain't gonna say why he's going legal, but we understand that some of the details behind the lawsuit itself. So what it is petition, and the petition is to be able to get the information that UMG, the Universal Music Group, the label, used in order to, it's basically get information that exposes them for inflating sales and things like that. Universal Music Group, right, is a label, a record label. What we are in right now, the streaming era when it comes to music, and again, follow me, a lot of what I'm saying applies to other entertainment aspects and things like that, right? When we look at labels and stuff, the roles of labels have always been a matter of giving an artist a certain loan and basically to pay that loan back by, producing music, right? Their creative talent and putting it on stage, going on tour and things like that. And over the years, artists have become more intelligent and figured out different ways to monetize what they, so that has been a win for the artist. And you see a lot of artists choosing to go independent, right? But here's the thing, the reality about the situation is that as an independent artist, it doesn't matter how skilled and talented you are operating within a system that is honestly just controlled by individuals who can easily change the metrics, the hoops and loops that artists who's coming at the game independently has to jump through, right? It doesn't matter they try to do it. They will never have the funding. And see, it goes on money. Money is kind of like what they use as, I look at money when it comes to like big business. And when I say big business, I mean when you're talking about industries, talking about record labels and who owns what, ownership, not just the person who bought a bunch of chains or bought a bunch of cars and living in a good spot and got, you know, when you listen to these artists, right? These artists be making $500,000 and, you know, this person is close to $1 million and shit like that. But you don't really understand money itself is a created concept. The people who created money don't use money as an exchange or a representation of wealth. So when you're talking about big business and things like that, it's more so about who owns what and how they're influencing things. See, money is more so, I consider money as a surface level, almost like an excuse of it's a cover up for really being exchanged. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, a drug dealer, right, who makes a bunch of money might launder their money, right? And the laundering scheme is a cover up to see how what's actually being exchanged, which is the drugs for money and stuff like that. But they fake business and launder money through that business to wash the money in a sense. So the money, the process of how that money was made is being covered up, right? Now, take that concept and put it in a bigger space, right? These big businesses, industries, exchanging things, right? Whether it be your data and things like your intellectual property and certain things that are more so near and dear. Like, think about them trading your actual information. You might not actually see the value your data, you as an individual, what you engage with, what you know, your likeness, what you express, and what you create, right? Everything that the shadow government does, you have to remember the people who run the world, the cobalt mines and things like that. These are individuals who do not have creed themselves. Masons know how to build, right? So they created systems and programs. What they always lacked was individuals with true creativity, the native spirit and things like that, if you will, right? The native energy and that connected spirituality and knowing actually how these different things flow and move. All they know how to do is to copy and paste. That's why even in psyops and ways in which they try to infiltrate and destroy different groups of individuals, it's always a matter of trying to create copycats or create situations in which individuals clash with each other. It's basically that crabs in a bucket concept where they create a circumstance, right? Where, again, money used as on the surface, right? Every fan of the music is going to be in the comments creating or enticing or encouraging the narrative of, oh, my favorite artist versus your favorite artist. When, if you really think about it, right, these are two individuals who will never have, and talking about the actual celebrities, right, that people look at and see. The celebrities are just like how people look at football, live vicarious through them. So when they get into rap battles and shit like that, or drop an album, they live vicariously through their favorite artist or celebrity. So their wins become their own wins. They internalize their celebrities' wins and things like that. Now, that's part of a whole different type of psychosis and parasocial anxiety or parasocial mentality, mental illness and things like that. But what I'm giving you is the concept of how people, again, on the surface, as again, there's levels to this shit. So on the surface level, right, the people are arguing whose artist is the best will never, it's like, not to say they'll never, right? But for the most part, most people who are of things are more so on the consumer end. So they don't have any, and not everybody's meant to do this, but they already put themselves in a certain category, a certain level, right? Consumer. Then you have the person who actually product, right? This might be a person who climbs up to a certain level of celebrity, right? A-list, C-list, you know, all these different ranks that we might consider a person's popularity, right? So when you're talking about these different celebrities, right, both Kendrick and Dre never be on a level to actually be a true owner of these things. And I say never loosely because, again, I think that a lot of what we see through this different, the lawsuit and the legalities are attempts, because it's the same thing that we see with such as Michael Jackson, where, again, they're the top individuals in the game, in the celebrity space of their chosen industry. They start to get into different kind of conversations. They start to have deals. And so what you start to understand when you look a little deeper, and again, the person not going to care about this shit, but I'm talking about it because, again, for whoever is on this type of shit, y'all going to feel what I'm saying. So when talking about the types of deals that's being made, these are deals about intellectual property and who owns what. Now, on a surface level, you might not see the value in intellectual property, but when you realize that, especially in today's time, individuality, let's bring it back to spirituality and some astrology and things like that. Your individuality is really your only sense of value here. If we being real, you as a unique individual, your ideas and your likeness, who you is honestly one of the most that's the one thing that is yours in this world, right? You could build up, you can be great. You like if you really think about it, right? Money and all these different things, it's like you can go do a job, a random job and get money, right? But that doesn't make you rich. Because if that job was to close, you would be out of value. But one thing no one can ever take from you is uniqueness, who you are. And it's like everyone has the same access to what's going on, and like everyone has the same ability in the world, or a chance or opportunity in the world to sit with themselves and figure out what it is special about them and accentuate that, right? That's kind of like for every person who is into creative, some form of artistry, y'all understand what I'm saying. It's like, as an artist, we all have this thought of, well, a million people do the same thing I do, but what makes my shit special? And that's an internal conversation everybody has, in which the ones who choose to go ahead and do this and try to express themselves in some kind of way, y'all know that journey where you're sitting with yourself and it's like, well, a million people make music, or a million people draw or paint. Why is my paintings or why is my music, what makes that important to share with the world? But when you really get deep with it, again, those conversations start to get deep, and you start to realize, well, you know what? I'm an individual. I have my own perspective. I've been through certain things. I've got things I want to express and put out into the world. So you know what? The bravest of the artists say, fuck it, I'm gonna just express myself and put out whatever it is that's in my heart. And who fuck with it, and who don't, they don't, right? People have just that thing that aligns with what the status quo deems popular at the moment. So what happens is they get they're so there's individuals, how they say, the mainstream people, and the people who are more to the underground side of things, which if you really are honest with yourself, like, I'm not even saying one is better than the other, but this is just how they do it, right? Again, understand that the world, the shadow government, operates off a heliocentric. They cover up what they do off of a heliocentric model, but what they really practice is Saturn centric, because again, we're dealing with gold and silver and cobalt, right? Gold being the true creativity, native spirit, cobalt being the Masonic, artificial, built after the fact, copycat version of what was the gold and what was the, again, pure native spirit. So colonizing things. When you come to a space and you see something that you can capitalize off of, the creation of capitalism, marketing something, you see something in somebody. So you say, oh, this young kid on the street got talent. Find him as an artist, put him in a 360 deal, aka give him an impossible loan to pack. But see, the thing is, the loan that they give them isn't impossible, but it's the opportunity to either step up, aka person that they took a chance on, that they signed, that they gave that loan to, ends up being a mega, and their intellectual property becomes something that resonates with the general public to a degree in which they can now, they take the raw connection that a individual has with the audience or with the status quo, and then what they do is, all they do is put the cobalt behind it. So what happens is their popularity is inflated. They're placed in some spots. In again, like, again, let's get back to the Drake lawsuit, right? And where that's relevant. In the lawsuit, it was saying that there was tampering, where they lowered the price of the licensing to the song that Kendrick came out with, Not Like Us, right? They lowered the licensing price. So when you lower the price on a streaming platform, right? All streaming. First of all, let's go. Okay, music business 101.5. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give like real quick rundown, right? So y'all understand how the business works. Labels masters, or artist owns the masters of the song that they create, right? The masters is the actual intellectual property, right? The copyright. So when you go to a streaming service, basically there's a deal being made in which the service, basically, to play and stream your music, they have to do a deal with you to basically license the ownership of it, because the label came to the streaming platform with the intellectual property. The streaming service like Spotify has to break them a deal to be able to freely play it. That's why you don't have to pay for the specific album, but you have to pay every month the subscription for your Spotify, because the service is just distributing the licensing. So every the music gets played, Spotify gets that deal, but the money, the little bit, the chump change, basically what they give to the artist, which is chump change, are given to the artist. But what Spotify did with a certain song, that Not Like Us song, was they lowered the licensing price, right? So what this did was this made the song 10 times more accessible. They could do a lot more with it because they got a good deal on it, right? So it got to a point where you could say bots and things like that were on streaming the song, but what they would do is they would manipulate the platform. They own Spotify, right? So, and see, and again, ownership. If you look deep, you start to see that Universal owns a part of Spotify through either directly or subsidiary companies. And again, this is big business. So if y'all not familiar with this, I know what I'm saying might sound like I'm jumping here, there, and everywhere. Hopefully you follow what I'm saying. This is where it gets deep, because it, like, on the surface level, you just rooting for favorite song, or the person on Twitter or online is just talking about, oh yeah, the rap beef. But this shit's so much bigger than just a song being more, or people talking shit about each other on a song. This is about business. This is ownership. And see, what happens is, so getting back into what's actually being done, right? So being that the price of licensing was lowered, the song became way more accessible, and then on the actual platform, it would be manipulated in a sense where the song, since the licensing was so cheap, and again, it's more than that. It's about who owns what and what's going on behind. Different things have been inflated in order to make something more popular, right? Make the song itself more popular. AKA, at the end of an album, usually Spotify would just play a random song. Well, what Platform did was they wired it to play that specific song. So at the end of it, and it didn't matter what genre or anything like that. It could be a song that's completely, you a country listener, you listen to pure metal rock, and all of a sudden you hear this hip hop song completely out of your algorithm. But see, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that new shit that we got to be aware of in big business, and then the tech industry, and what's being actually traded. Because like I was saying before, I've been saying this, when it comes to algorithm, your algorithm is almost like a setup. See, before, it used to be a little bit genuine. What you was actually interested in, you was recommended. But over time, we are now in the age of commercial media are being sold. Your data is being sold to other companies and being fed different things that they want you, from your perspective, your little piece of the internet, you're being fed different things to be basically focused on. Again, same thing, like even all the way down to you saying certain things and your phone recommending you certain stores, or recommending you, you'd be like, man, I'm so hungry. All of a sudden you got an ad for McDonald's, Sonic, and Burger King, these different things. You say the word Burger King, you say the word burger, you all of a sudden, all your feed recommendations are this, that, and the third. Again, your algorithm is being hardwired based upon their different technologies, and your information is being, and all they're doing is pumping money to put that thing in your face. And the flat minded, dull headed, and again, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I'm throwing insults. They ain't even insults. It's just the common person who not thinking further than, and again, to be honest with you, it's not all bad. It's not all negative, because if you're thinking about in terms of convenience, I mean, to some degree, that's kind of what you want certain things on your device to do. You want your algorithm to look kind of catered to what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I'll be whispering to my phone $1 million all the time, just so I can see ads for ways to make $1 million. It's like you can get creative with it and use it the way you want to use it. But like at the same time, the common folk, the common headed human being is going to be using these different things and not realizing that their life is being condensed into this corner of the internet. And basically, if they don't have discernment and critical thinking skills, they're not going to know they're not going to know what to discern. They're not going to know what to say no to. They're not going to understand that they're being fed and led down a certain direction based upon interest is. And again, sometimes it plays off your interest, and it don't even be things that you're interested in, but it be something that they want you to be more interested in based upon somebody putting money into whatever platform you're using's pockets and saying, hey, we want you this song, or we want you to push this brand because we need more people in this brand. Because we're talking about big business. We're not talking about low level third dimensional rap beef. You talking about who rap better. Man, fuck that. It's not about who rap better. And if Ben had skills, it's not about that. It's about who owns what and what they're. Now, let's talk about the significance of the pricing being lowered in that song that Kendrick made being pushed. Again, public perception a lot of times determines the wealth of an artist or anybody in the entertainment industry, because it's a heliocentric world that they've built. So everyone's chasing the sun. A bad face card, guess what? People gonna devalue you and devalue what they're. This is basically what Drake is proposing in his lawsuit, and the reasoning behind why he's putting this petition together. Because again, the separate case in which he's saying, "Oh, y'all defamed me. Y'all trying to me as a pedophile and things like that." So that's on one end, right? But before that, the first lawsuit was more so about devaluing his planning. Because what we started to see, and again, the common person not going to notice, but I'm into music. I do music, and I'm into it. Like, I understand it, and I look at, again, my mind. I'm a nerd at shit, so I look at things a little deeper when it comes to I notice the little nuances in how the industry works and treats certain stuff. So when I look at the surface, right, the songs that Drake put out. He had a song that was starting to get popular, No Face, right? So the people know that song, it was a hard song, right? Now, normally Drake dominates the billboards, but what we started to see is that, of course, Kendrick had a hot, things like that, right? And again, this is not about skill and not who you think is technically better, because if you really being honest, it's music. So therefore, it's all subjective. But of course, you can say who got skill and shit like that, but these are both good artists. But this is what the government does. It creates divides. Now, of course, this divide is not as extreme, important as the political divide of Democrats and Republicans. But again, anything regarding big business, they're going to use certain that you're going to see in all aspects, right? Whether we're talking politics, entertainment, education, so on and so forth. Y'all know the 5 pillars. And if you don't, then again, follow along, you'll catch on. Now, when you look at what happening, what the engineering behind the algorithm, what was being made popular, wasn't it was being geared in the favor of Kendrick Lamar. Now, what Drake, like I said, the lawsuit and things like that, saying more so he was basically, and what's crazy is that Universal owns most of the music and industries within it. So during this period, Drake is being Drake was, y'all already know, on top of the game, dominating charts and things like that, put in a certain position, to the point, like even that song he had where he's like big as Michael Jackson. He's like, I'm one away from Mike. You know what I'm saying? And he's like talking about that space. And now again, thinking about Michael Jackson and shit, when claims started to come out, different things like the charges that started to be out about him. Oh, he's again, I think they started calling him a pedophile and things like that. They started talking to him about the different things that he was into, and then there'd be lawsuits, and again, people coming out the woodwork saying this, that, and the third, to the point where what was starting to be in question? Public perception. So the heliocentric model that they utilize, again, the sun and what we can see, the public is dumb enough to look at something, and based upon public perception, what everyone agrees on, they'll start to either demonize you or praise you. And I always seen it like this: as soon as the public is something viral, is the second that you basically on the downfall, because the always gonna turn. eventually, no matter what. It's just like a weird thing that happens with the public, and a lot of it, we could say, we can put a bunch of names on it and things like that, but that's what the public be doing. It's like and all of this is like, it's a it's a societal thing. Same thing with like culture. That's really what I'm talking about. Cancel culture, where they praise you one minute and then they hate you the next. And see, as a side note, this is why at anybody who is an artist, or anybody who's, again, a real spirit, you cannot base your value on validation. You cannot look at the public validation that you might get for a viral moment, or the popularity you might get for a hot second, 15 minutes of fame. You cannot base your true value on that, because it's just as flimsy, what I'm talking about. Because all it takes is one paid actor to say certain things about you in the public, to get the public to completely 360 on you. And again, the common folk, dumb person, not really thinking critically, don't have a mind of their own, is just gonna go along whatever is the most popular opinion or the most controversial. Same thing, even we like, again, for the people part of that who's seen that little spiritual thing go on, like the spiritual community thing going, the last couple of days, y'all know, it's like it doesn't matter. As soon as people see something, the lower spirits, the lesser forms of individuals, start to jump on things and bandwagon. Oh, I'm on this side. I'm on this side. It's like it never fails. Like, I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's like a human nature thing. Everybody, like most people on a common third dimensional scale, see things in black and white. My hero versus that villain. Like it that people rarely see beyond the surface and can actually leverage out what's really going on, or see a little bit further beyond a veil and stuff like that. And again, these two instances are different, but I'm speaking just to a common thread that we start to see when it comes to individuals who don't have a mind of their own. Like, again, people who get caught up real heavily in certain narratives and things like that. And this is what the government and individuals who are the world play on: the narrative, the look of things, the optic, the public perception, and they play on that. That's why they make every person who is popular in some kind of industry, they paint, the first thing they do is defame them. The first is point out, bring about different crisis actors and actresses and say, oh, they did something so heinous to me. And then all of a sudden, whether they did it or not, their morality, their character is in question, and then it's open season. The first thing they try to do when they try to tear down a certain artist, somebody who's reaching a certain status, is they start to connect to people that they know, their family, friends, people that used to know them, old girlfriends, old boyfriend, all these people. They start to infiltrate and create agents out of those people, and they use that one thing that everybody be thirsty or hungry for, which is a paycheck. They use that to manipulate them and convince them into deal and infiltrate their most trusted of circles. So you start to see why these individuals are so paranoid, because literally, and it don't make it no easier with the internet, where a person can come to you as an actual fake profile, comment and so, oh, I'm a supporter, boom, boom, boom. I don't know you, motherfucker. I don't know you. Who is you? All of a sudden you see a person who's down, I'm supporting you, I'm doing this and that and the third, and you think it's somebody from it. All of a sudden you looking at this shit like, hold on, this motherfucker trying to kill me. That's the paranoia. You know what I'm saying? It get to, I don't blame niggas for crashing out, because I be like, I get it, I feel you. You don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Again, everyone on how they would approach it. Again, depending on you and what you going through. Of course, I am an advocate to say, whoever you are, consider who you are first. This is why, before you do anything, like as you pursue your purpose, along with that is a level of knowing yourself and shadow work you got to be doing, because there will come a time in which you get to a certain space where if you lack knowledge and connection with your true self, you will not know how to properly navigate the attention and the aspect of being connected to so many different people at the same time. You will fall short, and you will find things, again, you will be infiltrated and you will be destroyed from the inside out. in a way, which again, you see, again, even popular people, like all these different people with law, again, and it goes legal. A lot of these people jail or dead. And a lot of times they deaf, even if they end up offing themselves. A lot of times that comes from the pressure, just everyone around them, they can't trust. The paranoia, that gets too much. And they say, you know what, man, there is no way I have to restart. And again, so I don't, at that point, it's unfortunate. But getting back to what I'm saying, so back to this lawsuit shit. So during the time of this whole year, Drake was in talks with a deal with Universal, in which just signed a deal for like 500 mil, right? And again, 500 mil, of course, sound like a lot of bread, but the people who run the world use money as exchange. So no, this gives you a perspective. The little bit, this money that, of course, to you who's only making maybe again a couple bands a month and shit like that. I'm in the same category. A couple bands a month that look like, oh man, I could do some of that money, but these individuals still, even at the height, and you got to consider this, and let's be fair, they're at the height of their industries. Drake is a top tier artist, Kendrick tier artist, top of their industry, and they making these kind of deals, only getting millions. Which, if you think about the world and big business, how much some of these other individuals make, and the way money even moves and rates, and how everybody kind of more so does things off credit and stuff like that. Like, it's more so about ownership and things like that. But my point, at the game, they're getting these kinds of deals, right? So in Drake's case, he I think he did a 100,000 deal with Apple, or probably with Universal Music Group, right? So now he's in talks to more. Now, what makes Drake's case different and why he should be acknowledged is because he owns his shit. So I respect people who own their shit. Again, you can say whatever about a person being in the Mason world and da 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 da. I feel you. I get what you coming from. But a motherfucker who own their shit, again, and figured out a way to maneuver different aspects of the game and shit like that. Again, they still make mistakes on the third dimensional level. They not in touch with all the spiritual shit. Yeah, da, da, da. But all I know is that a motherfucker knew how to play the game and played it pretty well. I learned from that. I'd be like, yeah, that I fuck with that. I see that. I respect that in some aspects, not all aspects, because, again, I don't know where a nigga's spirit at, but I can certain, I get real respect, real. I see game. I respect game. He owns most of his shit. So during the time of this beef, the significance of it is this. So he's doing business deals in which the label is like, look, we fuck with this dude, but we losing money investing in this nigga. We make way more bread if we say fuck him, somebody else up, and open the space up for the next new art to invest in. Because again, the labels is out for the check. They could give a damn. And see, they could give a damn who's who. They looking for the payout. And when you reach a certain status, the deal isn't as good as it is for a young individual who don't know their worth. Think about it. An artist on the come up would give their entire soul for a 5% of that 500 mil that Drake making. And if they turn out to be a success, tenfold. So the label looking like, well, we the cobalt. We the one who make the system operate and move. And see, now this is where you get into the standing on business shit. Because during the whole, right, Drake dropped that 100 gigs. Now, on the surface level, niggas like, oh, Drake lost the beef and he just testing the waters. So he did a bunch of songs and he just trying to test the waters to see if he popular again. But y'all missed the point. What he was doing is he was testing his ability as an independent artist. And interesting because if y'all remember, and again, the common person probably not gonna peep this. When he dropped that, he had no label support. Again, remember, anything Drake used to drop, top of the Billboard, top of Spotify, recommended everywhere, worldwide, broke renowned numbers. And see, nowadays, you got very basic individuals on third dimensional shit talking about numbers in the rap industry as if they know even what those numbers mean, or that they even, it's like, bro, just be a fan. It used to be a time people knew how to just listen to music. Now people be like, oh, this didn't sell that much this week, it's trash, even though it's their favorite songs on that album. Like, people don't be knowing what they talking about. Like, it's a thing now to talk about the first week sales numbers. Why does that matter to you as a casual fan? I mean, I can understand wanting to know the little, but numbers, again, Jay-Z said numbers don't lie, shit like that, but numbers actually do lie. Numbers be lying like fuck because they're artificial. A lot of times they're inflated and things like that's a different conversation. But my point is this: drop that 100 gigs tape where he had a bunch of behind the scenes things, right? He's the documentary, and what he did was he dropped a bunch of music, right? That was on these files and things. And what it did was he had people direct to consumer to that form, and he didn't give a fuck too much. I think he put it on streaming, but he was looking at what basically as an artist, checking the temperature to see how valuable am I as an independent artist. And what he really was doing, and again, remember, this nigga is a Scorpio, so there's a little bit of strategy in behind what he's doing. He threw that shit out. He looking at it like, well, let me see how much, if I did go independent, who would fuck with me? How bad or how different are the metrics in the aspect of me going independent, right? And what it showed exposed something behind that, the label presence. The label didn't push it. So, of course, what we started to see was a decline in Drake's public perception. But again, artificially boosting, the label already does. The reason people even go through labels is because of the platform and what they can do to the numbers. Because again, the label itself is not directly operating bots, but anybody involved in big business is that when you have a business, there are the potentials of subsidiaries, right? Companies that are basically offsprings of that business, that main father or mother business, that act as branches, and branches branch off. They're able to do deals with what you might call a PR company, and these PR companies are in bed with tech companies, and tech companies know how to, again, program different aspects to inflate numbers in ways in which the average person who coming off the street with raw talent, who created their own business or their own label, will never have access and the ability to put as much money behind what they trying to get off the ground as an actual label. The label got money to give to the subsidiary, to give to this person, to give to that person, to give a whole band, to create a whole fake entity, to create bots and shit like that, or spring and hire bots and shit like that. So it's different. It's a different game plan. So again, in public perception, your little rap album ain't gonna hit the numbers that these other individuals hitting. It's not, the thing is, you might be way better than everybody, but the thing is, you don't have money to put it in the same places that these individuals put it. So you're not the topic of conversation in the mainstream. You're not in hip hop media or music media and things like that. Entertainment media, because there's levels to this shit. We talking hip hop. Hip hop is like, but see, people try to finesse hip hop and say it's not the biggest, but it's the biggest. Like, again, that pop shit and all that, yeah, that might travel better. But if we talking about, what actually be popping and moving shit, making shit move, is hip hop. But then there's that hip hop to pop and being able to balance out there. But it's levels to this shit. So on the common level, people are arguing about who's a better rapper. Man, fuck who's the better rapper. These niggas make good music, whatever, or music you like, even if you don't like it, tier quality, because they got the money behind it. But the point is, look at the deal they made. So you got Drake in a position where he's saying, well, shit. He's basically opening up the can of worms and saying, like, y'all doing dirty business. And see, I didn't get into the real illegal practice because, again, the label having ownership of Spotify is insider trading. If y'all not familiar with what insider trading is, it's basically illegal. It's a conflict of interest. The label owns pieces of certain media outlets for music and things like that. It's a contrast because we can talk shit about whatever artist that ain't on our label, and we can boot up and make good stories about whoever is on our label. And that should be your indication. Again, this is a different kind of game. And this is the type of game you into if you trying to. This is why everything I be talking about and doing is to build an industry independent of these different things. Like, this is what we really doing. When I say we're building and community building, it's systematic. We're coming together as individuals to build a system, and that system is to be able to operate independently of having to be wrapped up in all these different games, because again, they can manipulate anything. Again, and my point is, these individuals who you deem as a cool pop celebrity that you probably want to be like, they'll never be in the position of really making move changes. You know what I'm saying? And I say never again, because this is what makes this interesting, because what we're seeing is an artist attempting to kind of go head to head. But again, he's still on the surface level of music. But hopefully, again, who knows what'll happen. See. But again, real ones understand that you're never gonna be more important in their industry than they are. You're never going to be a real mover and shaker in their industry that they created. Because think about a business. If you own the business, you're the CEO, founder, and here comes somebody who's an employee, and a good employee, so good that they start to make it up the ranks. No matter how high in management they get, they'll never be CEO. Or even if they do become CEO, they're not the founder, they're not the leader of that business. Nobody who owns a business is going to let some outsider become as popular as them. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mello. You said, Petty, how the gold is disregarded if you're not in sync characteristically with being a cobalt puppet. Exactly. Because again, and this is why I be laughing, and I agree. All the cobalt ass energy is really just like little dick energy. Like, really some just little kid shit. Really some like, oh, like it's and see, it's fucked up because like it's fucked up because it's just like, damn, like it ain't even gotta be like that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gotta be like that, bruh. It just don't gotta be like that. But that's as their awareness goes. You know what I'm saying? It seems like that's as far as they be thinking and shit. Like, it's like very small minded because that's what they come from. It's like a deep rooted envy. You know what I'm saying? A Saturn model got a lot of Libra influences. It's simply based system. Gotta be cool with motherfuckers, right, on some fake shit, and be lit Aries individual. Exactly. Exactly. That's how they tell you. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. Relationships. Oh, I would have a relationship with this person, this partner, that partner. And see, the thing about the Saturn model, it has no space or consideration for feelings or interests. And not to say you should be in your feelings, but it's like it really don't give a fuck about nothing other than artificial. And that's when this world is artificial. So artificial intelligence is the new God, the new Jesus Christ for niggas. Like, I kid you not. I've been saying, I was saying that the how the internet, virtual reality, and things like gonna be the new religion. I'm telling you, AI is like the new Jesus Christ, where I wouldn't be surprised they come out with a Jesus Christ bot, a fucking robot that literally is like, this is now y'all. They already putting hologram churches, man. Oh God. I'd be stressed. I'd be stressed if I, for all the people who I know who into religion, I'm stressed for y'all. Y'all granny about to be at you with virtual Jesus, AI Jesus, with JI, praying to JI. I'm telling you, I'm laughing, but I'm laughing to keep from crying. This shit is sad. It's fucked up. It's the world that is getting to that. It's gone too far. It's gone too far. And this is why it's like, at this point, this is why everything, again, everything I do is dedicated to just trying to build something new. Because at this point, it's like, it's not it. You know what I'm saying? It's not it. And again, people get wrapped up into this game. And see, this drip on my mind because it made me think of just a perfect example of how this world operates and how these different things, again, and this is stuff, again, I don't do things to fearmonger. This is to give y'all game, because understand the game. And again, there's levels to this shit. So understand who you on. You are an individual who probably got some good intellectual property. What you need to be figuring out is, how do I protect that? And the best way to protect it is to build your own shit. And to build your own shit, you're gonna need individuals around you who are on the same type of shit. So collaborations need to be had and things like that. And again, think about the transits. And I'm about to go, and this is a perfect segue into this and things like that. So consider Pluto and Aquarius, like what's being moved, manipulated, traded, and being actually considered power and control is intellect, is technology, is data, is algorithm, is even community based. So if you got a talent, shout out to Soul Rebel. You said the chant heard around the world. Real shit, man. Real shit, bro. We gotta, I mean, that next song we gotta make is some kind of chant ritual shit. Like, and this, man, this was gonna be happening on when we get that land, when me and Free get that land and shit, and everybody come to the spot in the community and shit. That's what's gonna be. We like chant circles and stuff. We're gonna be chanting out to you know what I'm saying, creating kind of vibe and shit. But get back to what I was saying, man. Like, shout out to Soul Rebel, Solo Rebel. But back to what I was saying, when it comes to like this Pluto and Aquarius shit, like community and shit, like all these different things, your mind. Remember, Aquarius is the mind. World War III is about the mind. It's about, and again, we can look at it as technology, that the algorithm, but what's the algorithm doing? It's replicating your mind, your conscious awareness. That's what the algorithm really is trying to emulate, your conscious awareness, what you're aware of. And you, again, without the internet, you as an individual in your body, a spirit, human body having a human experience, what you're consciously aware of is basically what your algorithm is trying to emulate. That's why everything on your is meant to manipulate you into constantly wanting to be on it. And again, to take you away from what you could be consciously aware of in your actual reality. So you walk into a room, second you don't see nobody interacting with you, you whip out your phone. But it's like, before, like, you didn't even observe your surroundings. You didn't even come up with nothing creative about your surroundings to take into your own space and consider. It's like somebody, there could be some bullshit going on around you, and you just walked into the room and, oh, no one talking to me. Let me put out my phone, or I'm a little embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, or I'm uncomfortable. I'm awkward because I don't know how to socialize with people. I'm gonna pick up my phone. So like, people be so much in they, like, y'all see how they fuck the game up, because how you gonna be, how you a real individual, right? And you not aware of what's going on in your surroundings. You walked into a room and immediately picked up your phone, and now you know what I'm saying? It could be somebody getting robbed. It could be somebody with a gun who's moving towards you, moving funny. You didn't peep nothing. You didn't peep no game in the room. You just got in there. No one talking to me, and pull my phone. Anything could be happening in that room. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm using an analogy. It's like these are the type of things people don't think about, but are very much a reality nowadays. Again, yeah, you said it. Misuse, social cues, social awkwardness, and again, for generations older, like my age, older, and probably a little bit younger, we get it. But even younger, when you get these new kids and shit like that, they lack a lot of that social common sense and shit like that. It ain't even common no more. You know what I'm saying? You said, I was talking about Christians once. They see virtual Jesus, but yeah. Yo, oh, that's what you was saying. You said the chant heard around the world. Yo, real shit. It's like, you man, these niggas praying to J.I. Jesus, Jesus, our Christ. That's what they praying to. It's fucked up. It's like, man, who's programming that? You know what I'm saying? Again, they need a savior. And that's what this robot shit is playing out as. And again, Jesus, our Christ, gonna be a bot who's programmed Neuralink by somebody else in Elon Musk's group chat and shit like that. It's like it's just another human being leading y'all on some bullshit and stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, like McCovey said, missing social cues, missing like again life. Like life is about so much more than that, man, and like that's what's being destroyed through this World War III type shit. Like the World War III really going on now. All this mental, it's a lot of mental, again, spiritual warfare, mental illness as a result. Like every war led to casualties, and the casualty of this one is mental illness to a certain degree that, again, we not gonna get it. It's some people we can't get back. And I think that's a lot of what we during the Mercury retrograde. It's some things, some people we can't connect to. Some things just can't get back. Some people are gone, and we just gotta let them go and release that shit. The moon being in Scorpio right now, it might be the time in which you need to come to grip with shit that, hey man, we just gotta motherfucking release that shit. You said you love Islam. See, that's how I know you knew. I never said nothing about Islam. That's the same shit as Christianity. It's the same stuff. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, this, that, and the third, it's all the same shit. That's how I know you knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I know your ass knew, man. I didn't say now you must love Islam or you must hate somebody who practice Islam and show that. That's why you projecting. But all I'm saying is like some real, like, bro, I ain't telling you nothing that's supposed to harm you. This is all shit to empower you, help the world and shit like that. Try, but I can't help nobody who don't want to help themselves. So be damned. I don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Remember, it's levels. Exactly. It's levels to this shit. I don't give a fuck about that shit. It's just levels. You just don't get it. You on the bottom floor. If you religious, you in the basement of this world. Like you literally are in the trash chute of this world. You get shitted on the most. Y'all get disrespected the most. It's never like America is the land of no religion, and it's never been bombed. Every religious spot got bombed. That lets you know they look at religious spots as the trash chute of this world. Y'all fucked up. Y'all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But last thing I'm gonna say on this Drake shit and stuff, the new age and what we're dealing with is the manipulation of numbers and stuff like that. So again, we need to be building like what we need to be doing right now is how do we build ourselves up to bridge into reality. Always remember that whatever brand, whatever you do online, try to find a bridge in reality. Either connect with people who doing what you do, where you want to be around them. Find ways, if you the lit one, find ways that you can capitalize on creating like meets and greets and stuff like that, where people can come link up with you and shit like that. And see things that me and Free do with the 717 conference. The purpose of it is to, if you are lit in your space, come over here so everybody's space can start to get connected. So your fans can meet these people. And again, not fans. We don't do fans on supporters. People who want to build with us, builders and shit like that. So I'm using fans, lack of better words, but fuck that. I rebuke that shit. No, supporters and things like that. If you lit, you bring your supporters. If I'm lit, I bring my support, bring builders, and we come together to commute and things like that and build, continue on that power. Cause that's really what, even in the manipulation, again, the example I'm using with Drake and shit like that, that's how Universal Music Group is playing. But how they play that game shows you how they run the world too, because it's just an extension. But the entertainment industry is one of the biggest. That's one of their first extensions of the shadow government and what they. Again, that's why you only see hip hop artists at these pep rallies with politicians and shit like that. You only see rappers with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. You only seen rappers. They went on podcasts, and these podcasts be ran hip hop artists and things like that. Like, again, it's entertainment. Joe Rogan, entertainer. All these motherfuckers is just entertainers. All these platforms, that's what they use. They're trying to figure out, how do we create entertainment. They don't give about no policies they talking about. They don't give a damn about your kids education. They want your kid to be just shut up and pass this class so you can get one of these regular jobs that we gonna give you that can barely help you pay for anything. They don't they don't care about nothing. And the reason is they done got too deep into it. And so they don't even know how to manage it all. And see, that's what we need to be taking advantage of, is the fact that they don't know what they doing in that aspect of like truth. See, the gold mine, what it knows, again, that connection to spirituality and truth is just something that it's certain things. Like, you ever been somewhere and somebody doing something, but the way in it is like the technical right way to do it, but because you more spiritual, you see a better way to do it that cut corners, but it don't cut corners like in a lazy way, but it's just a way that makes sense. A kobold mind gonna try to do something in a systematic way every time, no matter how retarded it to do that. A person with a little bit of spirituality gonna say, well, there's an easy, you don't need that step, and you can kind of combine and blend this step, and you can make it a lot more smoother, or rearrange the steps to make it more suited to your individuality. And a kobold malfunction the second you try to rearrange something and stuff like that. So it's like that's how they look at the world. And that's why, again, there is a potential, is, I don't want to use the word hope, but there's something to be optimistic about as far as us coming together and building new systems. Because again, changing the world is more so about being a strong spirit and adults and living as an example. If you set an example, and all of us, and see, this is the truth for real. And I put this in, and it's a sound bite in one of the songs of my album, and it transitions into another song. It's like, I love putting my album of people who have really good things to say, like good speeches and things. But it's a speech at the end of one of my songs. I forgot the name of the song, but she's saying part of what we all have a responsibility on this planet is to become our own leader. And and that's deep. Like, I'm in a particular time going through my Saturn return where I'm learning that, and I'm learning what it means to be a leader myself, so that I can, for my own personal life and things like that, lead a family and be a, what I'm saying, be an actual, father figure type shit. Like, like I'm in that. That's like a personal thing, but it relates. It's like being a leader of yourself. But even as a woman, you got a leader of yourself at times. You have to know how to lead yourself, especially if you in a space where, and this is something all of us have to learn as an individual, how to lead yourself. Because no matter what you connected to and who's around you and stuff like that, you need to know you need to know yourself, and you need to know what's right for you. And even if you and another individual agree to disagree, you disagree, again say, or even if you change your mind, you adopt somebody else's system, you say, oh, that's actually, being a good leader isn't about always being right. Being a good leader is knowing when somebody else has a good idea and something else needs to be incorporated into your flow. Being a good leader, knowing how to balance these different things and be like, oh yeah, I should consider that. Being a leader, not about just being right. And you get a lot of people who, because of the trauma they had growing up like that, they think life is all about just being right. So they say, they double their ego, and they close themselves into their own shadow. They only see themselves, so they lost into their own darkness, and that increases anxiety and things like that. And they destroy their own lives. They self-sabotage until destroyed themselves so much, all they have left is the vulnerability. See, that's what people don't realize too. When you become too in your own ego, you still come vulnerable. Vulnerability is one of the most powerful things you can tap into, because it opens the door for real connection. Ego is separation. Now, both are important, but too much ego, now too much vulnerability, will get you taken advantage of, and you will be lost in this, because what you are able to give from your heart will be drained. Basically, people will take advantage of that, drain you right from that. So what I'm saying is not to cling to one or the other. It's a balance. But being too much in your ego is too much separation, alienation in your own, and you destroy that. But you still come back to vulnerability. Because after it's all said and done and you destroyed your planet, you left with nothing again. You've destroyed, you know what I'm saying? You done cocooned yourself into this mold. Again, ego is fleshly. Ego is third dimensional. Ego, again, and so equate that to a person who gets old. All of a sudden, when you get old, yeah, you could have been the best athlete when you was a certain age, but you hit a certain age, you don't have the same flexibility. Your organs don't move the same. Things slow down. Even the people in the best shape can't do everything old age because that's earthly, that's fleshly. It expires. The ego will expire. And when it does, you right back to vulnerability. Just like an old person at a certain point, they need someone to take care of them. You know what I'm saying? They again, that they say, a person starts as a baby, gets older, hits their peak, becomes an elder, and then becomes a baby again. They come right back to that vulnerability, needing someone else. You need in the home. You need somebody to take care of you, change your diaper and shit like that, give you a bath, feed you. You know what I'm saying? It's a natural thing. And that is related to ego is fleshly. Ego is third dimensional. It's always going to expire at some point. But vulnerability is the connection which transcends what will expire. It's all the times that you allowed yourself to be open that you was able to connect, and those connections be the thing that you need at the end of your life. Because again, think about it, like you need somebody as an elder to take care of you. The only people who really going to care to do that is either the ones who's been paid, or, and see, being paid goes deep, because who's been paid is a person who probably works as a nurse or works in one of these assisted living homes, who in their own life as the individual had a heart that was vulnerable and had a heart to give to others for whatever reasons that they had, but it was something in them that drawing them to that occupation. So being paid, again, you could get a shitty nurse and things like that who don't give a fuck about that but a paycheck. But again, if you karma and shit like that. But again, a person who was paid, or if you was vulnerable enough with the people around you, your family and friends, hopefully you'll have one of them who care enough about you to take care of you in when you need it the most, when you're the most vulnerable. But you can only get to that if you create a connection from earlier times in y'all life where you shown vulnerability first. See, people in this world, especially now, are so afraid to be with the people that they care about that they never establish no real connection, or they miss out on times to connect. And then they sit around and wonder why they feel so lonely. They sit around and wonder why they feel so disconnected, why they feel close to nobody. It's because you scared and you not allow yourself to be vulnerable in key moments. See, it makes no sense to go all through the struggle of creating any kind of relationship to not be vulnerable in it. What was the point? Family, friends, romantic, platonic, all of that. What was the point? What was the point of going through the issues of trust, going through the issues of this, that, and the third, all the inconveniences that come with allowing another person's space or close to it, proximity? What was the point of that if you wasn't going to offer vulnerability? If you looking for, like, this is just I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave the topic. If you're looking for balance in any kind of partnership or relationship, the thing you looking for, that thing that they bring to the table, the thing that y'all should both get from the experience is the ability to be vulnerable. And that is one of the most valuable things you could have. You might want a lot of surface level things. You might want this. You might wish they could do this, wish they could do that, wish they could provide that, wish they could, oh, this person only thought like this and talked like this and all that superficial, stupid shit. Man, if you in any kind of partnership, the baseline should be, you know what? I'm glad I could be vulnerable with this person, and vice versa. They could be vulnerable with me. And that's where things need to start. I think that's where a lot of people get that aspect of life fucked up, because it's just like, what was the point? All that other stuff that people talking about, oh, you need to be able to provide this, or you need to be doing this and shit like that, cooking, cleaning, or pay my rent, pay this. Motherfucker, start with, hey, you know what? With this individual, and I got connected with them, and I chose to spend time with enough to develop a relationship. And now the one thing I'm grateful for above all things is the ability to be vulnerable with them. And again, like I said, that could be for any kind of partnership, business too. Man, I got skills, I things on my own. This person do skills and shit like that. You know what? And again, there's levels to this shit. It's levels to vulnerability too, because of course the level of vulnerability you in with a business partner gonna be different than a spouse. You know what I'm saying? So let's not be dumb. You know what I'm saying? Or let's not be dumb is harsh. Let's not lack discernment, and you know what I'm saying. But just for the sake of clarity, the level of vulnerability, it of course varies, but that should be what people are working on these days. Like, where can we share vulnerability at? And start there. It ain't gotta be the most thing, but start there. Small things. I should be able to tell you this. Like, you got a business partner, and again, a person that you operate with, that you trust. Start small. I could trust you with this kind of detail about this, and they offer a little vulnerability too. See, that's the true leverage. But when one person is hiding vulnerability, it starts to turn into tit for tat, where it's like it starts to become one sided. And see, the irony, usually the person who is not being vulnerable expects more of the other individual in the partnership. It's just it's something about that, like, ironically. And see, the person who's given has to be like, wait. That's usually the common trope. It's like the person who is not in the vulnerability is expecting more, because they're not looking in the right place or appreciating or being grateful for what they do have, and they're not willing to give at all. And when you're not willing to give, you kind of prevent yourself from being able to receive. You get what you put in. You're not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? You put in what you get. Like, I guess I don't know. Y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all feel me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all feel me. But anyway, yeah. But like I said, the very last thing I'm gonna say about this Drake shit is just, again, the big business, who owns what, and what Drake was the devaluing of his intellectual property. And what we got to see was how the machine boosted up a certain image and manipulated that and utilized to tarnish and defame another individual and their intellectual property. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I still don't think I'm like kind of giving y'all the whole scope, but it's deeper than who rap good. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna see how this develops and stuff like that, because I'm interested to see. Because what this means is that, well, I mean, it can mean a multitude of different things. A multitude of different things. But I just thought that was interesting, because now again you can see what the Kobo actually does: manipulate images, just again platform, media access, mainstream access, put in places because of what they own, who they own. If the person, so as an artist coming up, mind again, you could choose what you want to do. If you want to play the game, just know that within their system, you will never be better than whatever they set up. You will never own more or create a better deal than what they provide you with. And if you try to go against that, you'll be defamed, and your image will be tarnished and manipulated to look as if you are someone who's unworthy of that, because to them it's all about status. They run through the satyric model. To them it's all about status. To them it's all about ownership. And to them they only know how to bound things and restrict them, how to bound you and create restrictions for you. So yeah, you can't, to this platform, you can't hit #1 on Billboard. These niggas had Kendrick on it's 10 slots in the Billboard top 10. This nigga every single spot. You gotta be kidding me. People are listening in the world. People are listening to different things. You just cannot convince me that That nigga was all on all these spots, and we've been known that any Grammy or anybody who won any of these awards or was on the front page of any of these awards and stuff like that, a lot of times that was public popularity or public opinion and shit like that. So again, as an artist who's coming up, understand that that has nothing to do with skill, and that you need to be figuring out how to leverage people who fuck with your music or who fuck with your art. Figure out how to leverage that, connect to those individuals, and build that community first. Supply them. We in a new time where all that labor, again, we see it for what it is. Now, the smart thing to do for these individuals, I can't even say what the smart thing is. Well, for these individuals, I think what they're doing, they're in a different kind of conversation. You know what I'm saying? They having a different kind of conversation. So again, I'm what I have to say and shit like that is more so for my I'm gonna do. And y'all already know my game. I like to build my shit. That's what you're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I can say is just for you coming up, find a way to build your shit and get the people around you who's gonna support that. And again, in these new algorithms and systems and things like that, you can compare the numbers to your value. You have to derive value out of something else, and it's got to come from in you. Ain't nothing outside of you gonna give the and again, if you wait for something outside of you to make you feel valuable, you're never gonna actually recoup on your deal. You never actually gonna make no deal. You're not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? And again, like I said before, what they're fighting right now, level of at the top of their industry, they still can't crack the code. They still can't reach out. They still victims of the very same thing that we be complaining about online, or folks be complaining about online about being shadow banned and things like that, and all victim to the very same things, being shadow banned, but from a crazy scale that seems unfathomable because you still look at them as a popular celebrity, but you don't realize the game being played behind the scenes for them. All he trying to do is get a proper deal for his intellectual property, but they're saying we're gonna devalue you so that we can't, so we're not obligated to give you that number, not give you that much money, because we don't want to invest in you that much. So you see how they devalue a person's purity, the gold. Who are they to say that so and so ain't? You try to control someone's value. They try to control your gold. They try to price your gold. Don't let nobody price your gold. Don't let nobody come around you telling you how much your gold worth. Because what the fuck does that mean? How you gonna tell me? This is my property. I could price it however I want. And again, going back to my very initial point, the money fake. Y'all not even, money ain't even a real thing to be trying to, again, all of these things are manipulation, witchcraft, make you equate what was God given to you. Somebody who created a piece of paper and said, well, this is $1 million. So it puts you in compromising positions to sell your soul for the sake of what another man told you was important or valuable. Yeah, fuck your value. Give all your time, attention, and energy to us for this little shit that we consider value. It's fucked up. But anyway, let's jump into some of these transits. So I was talking about Pluto in Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? Pluto and Aquarius kind of being a striking image of what we see right here, power and control. We need to take power and control over our over your individuality. You just got to right now. And we're learning a lot about that through where the moon is at. The moon is currently in, I think, 1 or 0 degrees Scorpio. So it just got into Scorpio. So we're going to start to feel a little bit deeper about what it is that we've been kind of maybe stuck on, or what we might have been noticing and things like that. In the Sagittarius season, so we seeing things for what it is. We looking around us, and let me see what degree sun is at, because we might be dealing with the second decan. I don't think just yet. Yeah, we at 6 degrees. So at 6 degrees Sagittarius, we are kind of coming into we getting closer to decision. You know what I'm saying? Around 9 degrees Sagittarius, I think that's where the new moon is going to be. The new moon in Sagittarius. So we kind of closing in on a decision that we want to make. And that decision is going to be followed by a new feeling our spirituality, about our morality, about our path, where we want to go, where we want to take things, and even our optimism to some degree. So again, things shaping up, or things could be kind of revealing themselves to kind of be a lot more like you starting to kind of see, oh, I'm in a cage. You know, so you might start to look around and realize a lot of what you've been kind of participating yourself in is not really contributing to what wanting to build for yourself, or the type of experience you want to have for your life and things like that. So you might have some harsh truths during this moon and Scorpio kind of dig through. And again, don't be afraid of it, because Scorpio make you more, start to make you feel afraid, make you angry and things like that. But just understand that Moon in Scorpio means that there's an emotional transformation to be had. The best thing you can do is surrender and release a lot of these heavy emotions and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, oh, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. But you might be finding yourself to have certain emotional biases released from, so that you can get out of that cage, because the cage that you're seeing, it might be physical, but honestly it's mental. And by mental, I don't just mean things you're thinking about. I'm talking about mainly things you might be feeling. How you feel the stance of situation might be the reason why you cannot see a way out or a light at the tunnel. So you might have to transmute some of the more harsh, heavy negative feelings you might be feeling about the circumstances you through, in order for you to kind of craft a light. Because again, nobody coming to save you. You have to dig yourself out of that hole. And again, it's easier said than done. The moon is going to be opposite Uranus, so you're going to feel a little at odds with your individual. But again, your individuality is where your value lies. So you must have to accept being different, seeing, feeling different than everybody else around you. Fuck them. And I don't mean you have to be rude and negative, nasty, and blow things up out of proportion. I just mean at the end of the day, you need to know your stance on things individually, and you need to move with authenticity. And when you move in authenticity, things move according to you. Just get the fuck out your way. And that's what you want. You don't want to be the one who's always moving out of everybody's way and shit like that. You can't be yourself. You always got to walk on eggshells. No, you deserve to step firmly on what you step on and make that motherfucker get out the way. And by motherfucker, I mean, again, it could be a person, place, or thing. And if they want to walk alongside you, tell that bitch to get beside you. Or if it's a demon, tell it to get behind you. This is me. This is what I'm on. So you need to tap into, and don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of just what you might have to do. And again, this is a time, the Thanksgiving energy, everybody around, friends, family, you start to feel guilty. You might want to cater to certain people and stuff like that. I'm telling you now, don't let their crafted fake ass holidays manipulate you doing what you need to do for your spiritual awareness and cleansing. You know what you want to do that day. Do that first. Then make everything else that second priority and things like that. Now, if you got certain responsibilities, of course, you know what you're supposed to be doing and stuff like that. Like if you got kids and stuff, you need to cook for your kids and shit like that. But, all I'm saying is just like part, again, where you can create that leverage and do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. This kind of creates a grand fixed square. So there's a lot of rigid energy. You might feel a lot of friction. This is a time where it might be a lot just around how you feel and where your frustration might lie, and your passion and your individuality, and then the transformations you're seeing that are necessary in order for you to take power and control over your circumstances, your social standing, because Aquarius is social standing. So where you might have playing a certain role in character, that might not be you might not see the value in being that same way. You might have to, expect it when I'm moving and operating this way. I might need to, refresh my character and kind of remind myself when I am put in situations where I'm thinking about going back to the old way I was doing things. I might need to learn how to kind of be in a little more in the space or in the characterization of how I want to be. You know what I'm saying? That way I can be what I'm trying to see. Again, when you walk in authenticity and truth, motherfuckers get out your way. And those who want to clash with you and be willing to clash with them, chances are they not really going. It's what you think is an obstacle. It's not really an obstacle. It's just something that's kind of in your way. But when you start making moves, you start to see things move. Things start to either get out your way, again, you'll be surprised. Like it's like if you be walking in the airport, right? If you walk in a straight line, like if you walking in a crowded airport and you just lock your eyes where you're not looking at nobody individually, just seeing beyond them where you trying to go, and you walk straight, I promise you, next time you in a busy area, people will like get out your way. Like it's a thing. If your eyes aren't, because people get mixed up and do that weird dance thing, is when they're looking into people's eyes, and that's like a passive way of doing things where you're like, huh, where are you going, where are you going, and that's like a mindset of a person who's trying to feed off of the energy of what they seeing and stuff. And so y'all mirror each other. Both of y'all go left, both of y'all go right, y'all embarrassed. You gotta stand still, let them go where you go, there you go. But if you just look beyond people, people would just get out your way. It's like it's a witchcraft and shit like that. You'll try it out. You just look beyond people and walk straight like you meant to go that way. People will get out your way. Old, young, whatever race, you know what I'm saying? If you want to get into race and shit like that, they'll get the fuck out your way. Like, you know, that's how we gotta be right now. You gotta just walk with your truth and shit like that. Let that be. And if you collide with something, then that was something that you needed to collide with. If you and an individual person, place, or thing got are at odds, really comes to that, then let it come to that. Don't be afraid of conflict. You know what I'm saying? Just how to navigate it. Not everything got to be a bloodbath, but you know what I'm saying? The best thing you could do is just see who the op is. So don't be passive in life. You know what I'm saying? Get it off your chest. Um, the moon is going to sextile of Venus. So this is opportunities to start to get a little deeper about what we value in terms of what it actually needs. And there might be things that you might have thought that what you value needed certain things for it to be flourish, or you can equate it to like relationships and things like that, getting deeper. It's an opportunity to get deeper, the needs behind that relationship and things, but also the deeper aspects of what you value, maybe about yourself or about things around you and stuff like that. This is a time where you should kind of reflecting on kind of yeah, even because sometimes how we feel about what we want prevents us from actually appreciating what we have. So also be mindful of that. The moon and the Venus, again, the moon being in Scorpio, if you find yourself in a very unhappy place or a place where you're frustrated and you're looking at the things that you love, appreciate, and value, and you're frustrated with that, before you blow up on that or be negative towards that, take a time to actually see where you're the reason, you're the demon. First of all, step back, and this need to be everybody kind of little phrase, right? In the back of your head, just be, what if I'm the demon? Before you get into any clashing argument, anything, Mercury retrograde in Sag, especially Moon in Scorpio. First of all, what if I'm the demon? First of all, before you get into anything where you trying to address somebody or you trying to bring something to somebody, first ask yourself, what if I am the demon? First, because what's that going to do is bring you to a thought process that allow you to assess on, there is something I have of value. See, Venus is in Capricorn is like that energy of Denzel in that interview where he's like, I'm leaving here with something. Venus and Capricorn got something for you. You got something. You just might appreciate it because of how you feel and what you still attached to, that you think deserve or you expect and you entitled to. But fuck that energy for a second. You might have to just appreciate what you have and learn how to transmute what you feel into something that supports what you already have. Yeah, it might not be perfect, but it's something you can work with. So use that moon in Scorpio more so to transmute into feelings that can motivate you to, kind of like what Scorpio does to Capricorn is it's a strategy. So learn to manipulate your own feelings to be more suited to attract more of what you want or to build on top of what you already have, instead of being in Scorpio mood and you're looking at Venus and you saying, okay, who do I need to manipulate, or who feelings do I need to fuck with to get what I want? And see what's that. And again, what if you the demon? That's gonna put you even further in demon mode, and you're probably going to set yourself up on a path where once you hit that new moon, you're gonna feel super justified and moral in your immorality. You're gonna feel super righteous about the wrong shit. You're gonna think that whatever cage you in is the right cage for you. And again, you gonna meet the demon. Like somebody come around you that you gonna think is a, it always hits you when you don't expect it. You know, especially with this Mercury retrograde, it'll hit you when you won't expect it. You'll get into some cool deal that you think oh yeah, this is perfect, and all it does is kind of put you in an even lower state than you was before. It finesse you out of what you already had, and because you was looking to get more on some selfish, you lose what you already had, and you end up yourself in that position. Now, when it comes to yeah, that's the moon sextile to Venus. Now the moon also going to be squaring. I talked a little bit about it, squaring Pluto. So learning how to transmute through transformations, learning how to transmute raw feelings that might be holding you back and grudges, and transmute those into things, ways in which you can take power and control over your ability to associate either with yourself or with others. So don't let your feelings put you in a space where you make enemies out of people for no reason. Also, be aware of people coming around you trying to associate with you for the wrong reasons. You know, right now we got to be very aware of who we trying to associate with. Who are these people beyond the surface, and where do they? What are they here for? And things like that. Now the moon is also trine in Saturn, so this is going to be, emotionally aligned with what we're building, if it's if it's creativity. So again, the moon can take you to a dark place. We justify a lot of kind of negative ways of going about reality, whether that's building for yourself. So this could turn you into a schemer, or you could try to be thinking how to manipulate, or this could be a time in which you attract people on that type of time. Again, holiday seasons and stuff, people start to look at their bank account and all the people that they got to provide a gift for, and they start to get, kind of tricky. Also, it's cold outside, and it's getting, so people kind of coming up with new ways to manipulate you and finesse you out something, because they looking for the people who are green. Basically, they're looking for the people who got too big of a heart and who want to give for the holidays and that they can finesse. So don't become one of the people that they try into a lick. But on another tip, the moon and Saturn, the moon got to learn how to be more patient. The moon, especially Scorpio want results now. Scorpio might get, riled up and things like that. And Saturn has to remind the moon, hey, not right now. You know what I'm saying? Calm down. Take those feelings, put them in a certain category, use them to motivate. Don't let them become, don't become what you feel. Desire, don't become your desire. Your desire is supposed to be something that is you could kind of brush off. Say you need to know how to release a desire and become one. you know but again, people sometimes get so backed up, caught up into one desire, that they start to play out energies that reflect that. You be what you want to see. So you just got to be mindful of what that is like, because if it's the wrong kind of desire, aka one that's very surface level, and one that's kind of dark, it needs to be hidden, deserves to be hidden, then again, don't be surprised if people start to notice that on you, start to do for that, or create some kind of idea of you, or label a status around you, lost into that desire based upon how you acting and moving in this time period. The moon also squaring Mars, so learning how to feel or transmute anger and aggression and turn it into passion. Learning how to support your passion through kind of your deeper mentalities and deeper feelings. Again, sometimes our deep feelings don't direct us towards nothing productive. So be mindful of what takes place and stuff like that. Try to transmute some of those deep, dark feelings into something that actually can propel you into greatness. A passion, a gift, some kind of creativity or something like that. And don't let what you feel keep you from expressing yourself and showing what you've been working on and stuff like that. Also, the moon in conjunct with her. So again, the time of bad advice. People going to just be talking out their ass. So you got to make sure that you're interpreting things properly. Don't just take any value. Kind of sit with it and think about what people are saying before you just agree with it, because nobody know what they talking about at the moment. Everybody just talking like they know something. Mercury opposite Jupiter. People talking, not talking about shit. You know what I'm saying? What they talking? They ain't talking about nothing. That shit. I'm saying they ain't talking about shit. You know what I'm saying? Just rambling. you know, or if they telling you something. Because see, one thing you got to keep in mind about advice, people give advice based upon what they think is right. That's kind of the nature of the ninth house in Sag energy. Is like people tell you advice thinking from their perspective, their morality, or what they would do in your shoes. But you the one in your shoes. Nobody else knows. So a person only got a limited view of what they talking about in the first place regarding you. And on top of that, see, you could be connected and close to a person, but even that, it's levels to that shit. It's levels to all this. Depending on the level of a person being close and connected to you, they really can't give you no advice on nothing because not really seeing it from your perspective. So sometimes you might have to separate yourself from what people is offering as advice because it just might not apply to you. It might not actually, again, it probably won't work. Not to say you can't take bits and pieces. Again, ninth house Sag energy is mutable. Take bits and pieces. Sometimes the dumbest motherfucker in the room can say something insightful 2 times a day. You know what I'm saying? Like you can take those two things and make magic, but don't just be taking anybody's advice raw. Like, you know what I'm saying? Relax, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, chances are you're clinging to answers because you're afraid of your own and you don't trust yourself, or you're too busy, lost in something to kind of sit down and focus on coming up with an answer yourself. So don't fall into that at the moment. The moon is also going to be in conjunct Chiron, so misunderstand how to feel about mistakes. Just get over it. Nah, just you have to learn how to transmute. Transmute those energies, transmute shame, transmute guilt. You know what I'm saying? You might just transmute that shit. Learn how to deal with it and move on. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you the only one creating the prison for yourself. So you can't get over that mistake you made. Hey, look, you know, you might need to find a different way to reconcile, whether that's getting in front of people and apologizing and doing, you know what you got to do. But at the end of the day too, if you've done that and you ready to move, take your losses and move. You know what I'm saying? You got to make that move. Also, moon in conjunct the node, so misunderstanding how to feel about your spiritual path, hey, that's normal. You know what I'm saying? That's normal. But one thing is true is stick to your authenticity, stick to what you value, and where you go as a spiritual path, you'll always be in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Even if it take you this way, it take you that way, you know, whoever told you that, see, life is not a linear journey. Sometimes we got to take a left, sometimes we got to take a right, sometimes we got to spin a 360. It looked like we in the same place, but we really further ahead. So take that, you know, your path is your path. Don't let nobody rush you off that. Yeah, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate each and every. Yeah, we're gonna continue to keep building tomorrow, or nah, probably Friday. I'm gonna have some more details on the next Each One Teach One and how you can sign up with early registration. So you should be on the lookout for that. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna go live for that so that y'all can, you know what I'm saying, interact, engage, ask questions and stuff like that. And yeah, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna get it popping, continuing to kick this good knowledge. Appreciate all y'all, you know what I'm saying, everybody watching, everybody also with their channels creating what they do best, you know. And of course we got a new episode coming this Friday as well at 8:30 of the Creators on Vacation. Also, the casting call is out, so to get on the next season, please send an email, a video introduction showing your personality. It could be a montage or just a talking video, right? 1 minute. Send it to 717conference.info@gmail.com and add a paragraph telling us more about what you do and, you know, your intentions, who you are, and all this stuff. We hope to see y'all. We gonna keep building, and yeah, much love. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.